Hey everyone, I'm back. As you saw in the last two-parter, which this will probably be part of it, so you're probably looking at 4 parts, 5 parts maybe altogether. But I talked about what Ken Penders originally had planned for the comic, had he stayed on board. But now we look at what Karl Bollars would have done. And as we know, Karl Bollars did what was known as the infamous slap in 134. And not a lot of people are fans of that, not even Ken Penders. In fact, like I read there, Ken Penders and Mike Paritro wanted to, basically Ken Penders and Mike Paritro wanted to correct what he had done. So, excuse me, sorry about that, got a little bit of an itch. But they wanted to correct what he had done, basically with the slap, basically getting Sally and Sonic back together. I mean, I can understand, as much as this might surprise people, I can understand, I can understand how Karl wanted to probably do some dramaticness in the story. He wanted to create some conflict in the story. I can understand that. And, I can understand that, folks, and I don't think I'm the only one. I mean, yeah, he made some decisions that were, some people will say were asinine. Don't get me wrong about that. I mean, when I saw the slap, I'm thinking, wait a minute. You spend so long trying to get these two back together around 120, what was it, 122, 123? And now you end up basically 11 issues later breaking them off again. It's like, what's the point? What's going on here? And like you wonder, okay, what's going on here? And it's just something that it's just something that, you look at, and again, you ask yourself, what's going on here? Why would he decide to do this? Why would Archie or Archie Comics or the person in charge at the time, I think Karl Minsky, even let this pass? What was the point? Why let it happen? And again, I can only look at some of those decisions as, with any kind of respect I would have for Karl Bollars, is he wanted to just basically create some, conflict, some drama, some emotion, which is understandable, because you got to understand something. Before this all went down in 134, Karl was kind of in charge of the book for a while. Ken Penders would come back and forth as well. But one of the things that Karl Bollars really got into, which I'm surprised Mecha Beatman hasn't done a retro review on yet, and I'm pretty sure he will, is Karl Bollars created a situation. Now, I'm sure Ken Penders helped out in this too. Karl Bollars created a situation where the Freedom Fighters, the main cast, except for Sally, were basically forced to go to school. In other words, they were removed from the ranks of being defenders of the kingdom, and now they were just regulated to just regular teenagers, to kids. So, that's how it was looked at there. And not a lot of people were fans of it. I mean, I was okay with it, because it's like, okay, we'll see a different side of them that we haven't seen before. And maybe, because, let's be honest, a lot of us pretty much wanted to see something similar in a way, and we never got that chance until, I guess, Bollars did it, along with Penders. I'm pretty sure Penders helped out in some way. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that's what came out of that proportion of that scenario, and it didn't last too long, because I think they saw the reaction fans had to it. Anyway, this is basically getting back on topic here. This is basically what Karl Bollars would have had done post 134. Basically, this is what he had planned out. In fact, they say right here at the beginning in the corner, it says, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 year later. And it states, Karl Bollars provides an overview into the direction he would have been taking some of the characters post Sonic 134 for your viewing pleasure. And this is basically what he would have done, and I quote, Sonic the primary, he even puts this in, kind of separates this by links with protagonists and antagonists. But going on, and again, just like the last video, I apologize if this goes into multi-parts. But I quote, this was his outline. Primary characters, Sonic the Hedgehog, hero. Lives with his parents in Knothole City, currently the field leader for Knothole Special Forces team, consisting of Tails, Amy Rose, Bunny Rabbit, and Fiona Fox. Now, one thing that I think a lot of fans have questioned is the change of Freedom Fighters to Knothole Special Forces team. This, I think, coincides, in my opinion, of them being a team of heroes that gets together when duty calls. Basically, like, you know, for most of the time, they'll just live their normal lives. They'll go to school, but they'll be brought together if there's a threat. But continuing on. In the war against Dr. Robotnik, aka Eggman, and other enemies of freedom, Sonic's team is assigned missions by his ex-girlfriend, Princess Sally, which makes for awkward situations. The two are at odds because Sonic chose the life of an adventurer rather than be her royal consort, which basically means fiance, husband-to-be, stuff like that. But it doesn't interfere with the professional relationship much. As issues progress, Sonic will find two potential love interests in the form of teammates Fiona and Amy. Problem is, he has no interest in Fiona, and Amy is an annoyance, isn't she? A recurring dream he's having would suggest otherwise. And again, there's a lot of people that question that too. It's like, really? You know, they look at that, and I'm sure some Sonic Amy fans will be like, well, why didn't they just let him do it? I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are asking that, but again, it's what he would have done had he stayed on board as a head writer. Next character, Miles Tails Prower, Sonic's sidekick, mechanic, technician. Lives with the Hedgehog family in Knothole City. Tails is the Kingdom of Acorn's greatest fighter pilot and is also an operative for the Knothole Special Forces. He is Sonic's best friend and looks up to him. He dreams of someday traveling across the universe to reunite with his parents, Amadeus and Rosemary. In his spare time, Tails loves to work on the tornado. In his spare time, Tails loves to work on his transforming mech fighter biplane, the Tornado, and read comic books. Tails has a huge crush on his teammate Fiona Fox because he once fell for a robot duplicate of her created by Robotnik. When the real Fiona starts to show interest in Sonic, it will cause friction between the longtime buddies, although Sonic doesn't care for her. It'll be a hard lesson in love, but Tails will learn that friendship is most important because his mechanical genius rivals Eggman's. Tails will eventually refit the Tornado for space travel and go on a space adventure where he'll meet his parents. So basically, it says here that Tails, basically what Bollars had planned for Tails was he was going to go on his own adventure down the line, maybe with friends, maybe by himself, to meet his parents. Now, we all know that Sonic met his parents in the Sonic in Space mini arc that led to him going back to Mobius, which had a year pass while he was in space, which to Sonic felt like just a few weeks or even a few days. Next character is Knuckles the Echidna, Sonic's friendly rival. Has returned from the afterlife to find himself bereft of his gliding, strength, and digging ability. In other words, he wouldn't have them. Ironically enough, his return has caused him to be revered by many echidnas as the avatar spoken, his return trying to read it. His return has caused him to be revered by many echidnas as the avatar spoken of in the prophecy of the ancient walkers. Currently, Knuckles is living in Knot Hole City and is a freelance operative for the Kingdom of Acorn. His return to Angel Island reveals that his powers require the close presence of a Master Emerald to awaken them from dormancy. He opts to leave Angel Island and forsake ultimate power since his presence there serves as a beacon to the Master Emerald's location. Knuckles will play the loner for a while and leave Knot Hole City and the Chaotix on a Knuckles will play the loner for a while and leave Knot Hole City and the Chaotix on a pilgrimage, easy for me to say, pilgrimage to Mobius's far eastern continent, where he will study martial arts at Monkey Khan's temple. It is while there that the Master Gearode, buried deep beneath the surface, is unearthed by an earthquake orchestrated by the evil Iron King. The MG imbues Knuckles with an ancient primary chaos energy that transforms him into a cosmic temporary important version of himself who will single-handedly liberate Angel Island from Robotnik. After that, the MG will shatter and be dispersed across the globe, and Knuckles will be able to draw upon power from these shards whenever he travels. In other words, this Master Gearode is basically the Master Emerald that he shatters in the story arc that he had last year. Amy Rose, another one, Sonic's potential love interest, lives in Knot Hole City at Rosie's orphanage and has undergone significant changes during the years Sonic was gone. We've never delved into how the Ring of Acorn transformed her besides changing her look and giving her the Pico Pico hammer. Amy has greatly matured from the character seen in issue 114's Young at Heart, and even has her own blue sports car called the Breeze. She becomes an expert at wielding the hammer and uses meditation to tap into its full power. She has taken to using tarot cards to allow her to glimpse the future and read the destinies of others, like in the games. And these abilities make her a valued member of the Knot Hole Special Forces team. Although Sonic still tends not to give her the benefit of the doubt when in the field because he is used to dealing with the old Amy. They are constantly bickering, because the tension masks something more. She will discover her true origins in an arc entitled The Little Planet, which would ideally establish and incorporate elements from Sonic the Hedgehog CD, where Amy first appeared. She will find herself stranded on a raft in the middle of the ocean with Sonic, and the two will share a kiss. This will lead to a period of denial, but the two will eventually give in to each other into the hormones. However, Amy and Sonic will try to keep the relationship a secret so Princess Sally doesn't find out. Now, Jawbreaker of Play First Cinema actually talked about this in a half-hour video he did. And let's just say he wasn't too thrilled about it, and I don't think any other fans, whether they are Sonic Amy fans or not, are too thrilled about how this would come about. Now, getting on to first tier characters. This is, I told you this was going to be long, so I do apologize. First tier characters. Sally Acorn, Sonic's former girlfriend, princess, and acting ruler. Currently the acting ruler of Knothole City, while her parents are on the royal tour to unify the planet's leaders in the war against Robotnik. She ended her romantic relationship with Sonic because the trauma of thinking he could really die in battle was too much for her to bear, especially after believing he had suffered such a fate in issue 125, Sonic Adventure 2.5 Omega. Bunny Rabbit is Sally's best friend, and Nicole acts as her royal advisor. Sally never travels on field missions anymore, but instead assigns them to the Knothole Special Forces team. When she rejected bonding with the source of all and gave the Sword of Acorns to Acorn, the Spawn, Sally thought she was When she rejected bonding with the source of all and gave the Sword of Acorn to Acorn, Spawn Sally, to Acorn's spawn, I should say, her children, Sally thought she was rid the source forever. But in the coming months, the source will return, and the Sword of Acorns will try to force her to accept the new destiny it chooses for her. This will culminate in the Strand arc, in which Sally will be forced to leave Knothole and travel with the Knothole Special Forces and General Armand Decoulette to the Far East in search of Max, Alicia, Antoine, Sir Charles, and the entire Royal Tour, whose plane went into the mountains, whatever. So, okay, so basically what he's got planned here for Sally would have initially, we all know that she didn't bond with the source of Acorns, didn't accept the sort of Acorn's destiny for her, but apparently he had more plans for her. And those plans, I guess, called for her to still be infected by this, basically still feel a connection with the source. So in other words, despite the fact that she had rejected the whole thing, it would not reject her. So she would have had the Strand arc as sort of a closing resolve, if you will. Julie Sue, Knuckles' girlfriend. Former member of the Dark Legion, who ironically has become Knuckles' girlfriend, she is currently the only female member of the Chaotix. Being raised as a Dark Legionnaire has given Julie Sue a tough girl exterior, and only Knuckles and her foster parents have experienced her softer side due to her scientific upbringing. She doesn't believe in the prophecy of the ancient walkers and therefore does not view Knuckles as the Avatar. Julie Sue was deeply hurt by Knuckles' demise during the Ultimate Power arc and was tremendously overjoyed by his return at the conclusion of Afterlife. She is slowly coming to accept the fact that he can hold his own despite the fact that he returned without his advanced abilities. Julie Sue doesn't like the way Rouge the Bat looks at Knuckles at all. Julie Sue doesn't accompany Knuckles on his pilgrimage to the Far East, choosing instead to remain with the Chaotix until his return. So he would have just simplified